Okay, this is my response to the Joe Biden town hall, as they call it, and also to Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders, all of them. I'm just really disgusted with the absurd rhetoric that further enslaves the American people. We are citizens, not workers. We're not voters. We're not in any of these categories that these politicians want to put us into. We are citizens, and as citizens, we should get a stipend to compensate us for the fact that we have this political economy that sometimes work, and clearly now it's not working to provide the necessities to everybody in this country. And in fact, it would have been much more efficient from the get-go to provide the necessities first, and then let people decide how best to use their talents for their own mission or for other people's. So first things first, forget about all of this unemployment insurance and all this sort of stuff. Forget about giving loans to businesses. Businesses don't need loans. They need customers, paying customers. And people need to be able to get the necessities without having to go through the intermediary of a boss and some job and having to have that employment arrangement get him some or her some money. No, people need to be given the money up front. They need to have a $1,500 citizen stipend every week. And of course, we have all of the conservatives who have nothing to do with republicanism, by the way. All of these people are absolute frauds claiming to be Republicans. They go to the conservative political action committee. You don't go to a Republican political action committee. They are frauds, okay? Trump, number one among them. Okay, they are not Republicans. And every time I hear somebody say, "Oh, Republicans don't want," no, you're hearing a bunch of conservative Democrats. That's they are conservative Democrats, Dixiecrats, as my mom would call them, and so they have nothing to do with actual republicanism. Republicanism involves getting the people to a position where they are able to be their own person. That's from the Latin word virtue, comes from being your own man, not in the sense of vis-a-vis women, but vis-a-vis boys or daughter or girls, or it's being mature, being able to be able to speak with your own voice and not be uh, pressured by other people. Let me see here. I guess I should probably say something here. I am speaking against the politicians, really, uh, who want to perpetuate slavery and serfdom. Okay, so we have slavery in our prisons. We have serfdom in our employment situation because people don't have any other choice. Now, so we have to uh, provide the people with the money, $1,500 weekly citizen stipend that will enable people to make their own decisions about where they're going to work, what they're going to get paid for work, especially now where so many jobs really should come with hazard pay, and hazard pay would be provided if people were able to make the decision to not work and still get a provision of the necessities. So if people get this $1,500 every week, they're going to spend it on getting pizza or whatever food from restaurants delivered, other stuff being delivered as they are sheltering in. And if there's something that needs to be done, uh, then uh, then they get paid appropriately for that. Okay, somebody's a delivery person, they should get paid a significant amount, enough for them to feel it's worth their while to go out and deliver products to other people. Same's for people who work in hospitals. This includes uh, everybody that's working there. You've got pharmacy technicians, and you have X-ray technicians. You have various people on staff there that are not nurses and doctors and don't always get the attention that the doctors and nurses get in terms of the danger. So all of them need to be able to be protected. The facilities need to be properly equipped with money, and they would be if we had both the citizen stipend and we had municipal medical departments. So this is another area where Joe Biden especially is going to say, well, we need to have people on insurance. It's like, no, you don't need to have people on insurance. You need to have people getting medical care. It needs to be free to the people. You see on the Carnegie Library signs, it's free to the people, free to the public. Everybody that comes into a hospital or a clinic or a doctor's office should be treated for free. Well, is that how you're going to do it? Well, because you make them part of a structure in which the doctors and the nurses and the technicians and everybody is paid as if they were federal servants. In fact, they would be federal civil servants treating you, and you just come in and say, here, I seem to have these symptoms or whatever, and then they deal with you. That should be the end of the story. That was the type of medical service, medical care that I had when I was in Washington, D.C., and I worked as industry economist for the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, and I signed up for the George Washington University Health Plan, which was not an insurance plan. It was instead a medical care plan, a medical care club, if you will. And if I uh, needed a checkup, needed to have my annual checkup, if I needed to have care, I'd go to the clinic and I'd show them my card for it, and they say, "Thank you, Mr. Clapper. Take a seat. The doctor will see you." I get seen by the doctor, the nurse, or whatever needed to be done, I'd be done, and that was it. I had no claims to file. I didn't have to pay any money up front or afterwards. I wasn't billed for it. I just came in as a patient. And that's what I envisage and have envisaged in that plan I put forth in 2009 to have municipal medical departments. And they are then made affordable from the gross sense of things by eliminating health insurance. So what does health insurance do? It's the same thing as the mortgage. It's a leveraging scheme. It's a way to drastically increase the cost or the price of medicine, price of medical care, so that no market can afford it. 20% down on the mortgage. It's 5 times what the market can bear on every single contract. Same thing with the medical care provided with the 20% copay, 20% down, times what the market could bear. If you in fact had a market in medical care, and I believe you should not, that is something that comes under the realm of civic responsibility, of civic institutions that are providing things. It should never, never have been commercialized. We should never have a commercialized system. The pharmaceutical companies should be pharmaceutical manufacturers. And under my plan, the municipal medical departments would have research facilities, and they would have labs, and they would have educational institutions, medical schools that would be furthering the advances in medicine. And from those medical schools and from the researchers in it would come the ideas for the medicines. And if you take a look at the Constitution, it's supposed to be that the rights to the inventions and the writings of inventors and authors is supposed to go for a limited time to those inventors and authors. They should be licensed out. No company should control the manufacturing of a particular medicine. It should be something that the actual inventor or set of inventors licenses out. So medical care needs to be provided free to the people. The people need to have a regular income that allows them to survive, and then have the independence to say, now that I know that I can survive without having to go beg for some job somewhere, what do I want to do? And if particular institutions, particular businesses say, hey, we need a lot of help, then they can pay for that. They can pay to have people provide that service that are not under duress, and they can make those decisions. Now, I talked also earlier, a little bit earlier, about the fact that we have a prison slavery system, and we do. There was an exception in the 13th Amendment that excluded the uh, punishment of a crime from the prohibition against slavery. That needs to be eliminated. And it can be eliminated in fact even before it's done in law, because it is an exception. It doesn't have to be followed hard and fast. Federal government, states, wherever they have prisons, can decide, hey, we're not going to have prison slavery. We're not going to force these prisoners to work. If we're going to be confining them, we're going to provide them the necessities as well. And we're going to pay other people to do any work that needs to be done. So the number of things that are completely wrong about the uh, way that our governments are being run, and it's governments plural. There are local governments, there are county governments, there are state governments, and there's a federal government. It's not just one, like the conservatives will tell you, oh, the government. No. The governments, a bunch of them, and they're supposed to be working for what? The people. They're supposed to be working for the people assembled. We need to bring this country back to the notion where we have independent, self-sufficient households. And those households are going to be larger than what we have been led to believe are reasonable in today's day and age. When people have a stipend coming in every week, they're going to look around and say, well, why can't we get the cousins together? And some of the other people in the neighborhood, and we'll just be one economic unit. We'll be one household. And we'll take care of the children that come that are born there. We're going to take care of people. So, and that's going to be something where uh, when we're in that college, what is decided in that college is decided out of affinity, out of love. And we are living in a communal, collegial setting, and we are everybody's pitching in where they need to pitch in. And if there are things that need to be done, that is the messy grunt work that nobody wants to do. I don't really believe that's the case, but if we have that, then yeah, the college can set things up so that they pay various people to do things that other people are less inclined to do. And that can be done with this $1,500 weekly citizen stipend, because the amount in the context of a college of extended families gets divided from the individual to their roommates with a significant room or a suite of rooms, and then the apartment or the house or whatever is the structure for the extended family, and then the College of Extended Families, which encircles the farm that provides the uh, the uh, food and the various crops and so on that would be allow people to uh, to create, make their own clothing, uh, and trees and so on to make new furniture and so on. So they'll naturally gravitate towards that because why not? And it's actually very natural for people to gather together in that way. And that brings me to another point about the way this whole coronavirus thing has been completely uh, mismanaged uh, from prior condition. If people were living in a household surrounded by a wall, that's the communist wall. Take a look at the definition of a communal uh, to build a surrounding protective wall. Uh, that's actually one thing that Trump got right. He actually gave a succinct definition of communism. He said that the wall was there to protect the people that we love, not to exclude other people from it. So they're naturally going to gravitate to us. It's basically the concept of a classic college that has uh, things that are done intramural within the wall, within that surrounding wall, and stuff that are done extramural outside the wall or intramural between the various colleges. So there's going to be a natural tendency to collect in that way so that people are living in these colleges' extended families, these communist households, if you will, and they are uh, having that separate life that's built upon a a built upon love, affinity for the other people in that household, that uh, are their colleagues in a college, and and they're not really concerned all that much about what goes outside of it. That's the outside part is the res publica. It's the public matter that's outside of their particular interests in daily life, but is dealt with by them as a community together, and they bring forth the delegate for it. But that type of structure uh, is what is needed in order to prevent the spread of disease. And had we had the structure, and if we had not been parsed apart into these little bitty apartments and little bitty rooms within the apartments and so on, had we not been so fractured, we would have been able to prevent the spread of the disease because it wouldn't have crossed the college walls and gone inside. And uh, and people, it would have been a lot more difficult for the disease to spread. The number of interactions of people outside of the college with other people is significantly less than the interactions within it, which could be done safely. So we need to get back to that. And right now, what we've done is create this structure that's appropriate for democracy. And a lot of people consider democracy a good thing. I do not. It is a system of rule, and any system of rule is oppressive. So I am opposed to having any sort of democracy, any sort of democratic structure. So and the provision of necessities without conditions, without requirements, would enable that. And the stipend of a $1,500 weekly citizen stipend would accomplish that. So as that money is going to the people every week, they're spending it and they are creating economic activity. And by our current system of taxation, uh, that money would be then destroyed in part as the particular amount has an incidence of taxation to it. And if it doesn't, it gets recycled into the economy. It's more of the money supply that is used in the next series of economic activity, some of which is taxed and a certain amount is taken out. So basically what we have is a series, a geometric series that converges. So the total money supply from the $1,500 weekly citizen stipend would reach or would approach an asymptote. Uh, there would be a maximum, and it would approach that fairly quickly by having it every week. So people are trying to tell you, oh, well, it's so much a month or so much a year. No, no, that's nonsense. It is every week that they get it. Every week, more economic activity is generated. Every week, more taxes are collected from that economic activity. And so this is something that is a cycle. It's called the charterless cycle. It's referred to by John Maynard Keynes in his treatise on money. And you can look it up there. It's fairly early on in the book. I have it over in the bookstore. I'm not going to bookcase, but I'm not going to grab it right now. It is something that is essential uh, that we do to get the stipend to allow people to stay home unless they have a very good reason, a very well compensated reason for going outside to earn any additional money. So again, and also we have to get rid of health insurance. It's just horrible, and it inflates the cost of price of medical care, and it denies coverage. Very essential portion of any insurance program is a system where the uh, claims are decided upon, and you have somebody coming in to decide, oh, well, that is something that we should reject or something we should accept. It shouldn't be anything like that with regards to medicine. Uh, it should be the doctors deciding, not the claims adjuster. So we need to get health municipal medical departments in place as quickly as possible. And we can do that. In this crisis, we have great opportunity to overturn this democratic mercantilist system of commercialized medical care and replace it with a civic republican institution which is supported by a federal system of having quality doctors, quality nurses, quality technicians, and so on down the line as federal civil servants paid for up there, but working together collegially in their municipal medical departments to provide the care that's needed in this time of a pandemic. And I suppose nobody else is really joining me here, so this is just going to, I guess, go into the record books as something that people will watch later. Thank you.